Hey guys, I'm Laura McMurray, and I am an executive sales leader on the Simple Clean team and Team Grow. And I'm just going to share with you guys tonight a couple tips about hostess coaching and kind of share what I do with my hosts. I know everyone kind of does this differently, and you kind of have to find your own style and what suits you best, but you really want to be connecting with your hosts because we all know that parties are the lifeline of our business with Norwex. If you don't have parties, your business is not going to grow, right? So if you want to have parties that do well, you want to be in communication with your host, and you're going to need to coach them and give them expectations to know what they need to do for their party to go well. So the first thing that I do is, first of all, the main thing I'm shooting for when I'm coaching my host is a relationship. I don't want this to feel like a business transaction with them, like I'm just trying to get some sales from them, or I just want to make money from them and have some huge party. I want them to know I care about them and I want this to go well because I want to help them share this new thing that they love with others and find the right people to invite to that. But I also want to help them earn a lot of products to have in their home, to make their home a safer place for their families and make cleaning easier and simpler and all those things we love about Norwex and why we do this, right? So that's first and foremost the most important thing is when you're coaching your host, make it relational. Don't make it a business transaction, right? So what I do first and foremost, when I book a party, which is usually done at another party, that's where most of my bookings are going to come from. I set a date right there at the party with my host, and then I hand them this. This is my little host packet. So these envelopes you can actually get in your back office. I'm not sure if these come with a starter kit. They did not come with it when I started, but that was like 3 years ago. So I'm not sure if these come in there. Maybe they do. If not, these are called the host envelopes, and you can get these in your back office. They're not very expensive, but it's great because it has just some tips on here. It tells about, the hosting program. You can stamp your info there, so it's right there. And then you can write their party date right here. So when you book the party, write the date on there because you don't want them to forget. Maybe they didn't put it on their calendar right away, but at least it's written down somewhere right here. So I hand them this, and what I keep inside of this for my host is, first of all, a catalog, so they can be looking at it. It's sitting around. They can take it to work. They can show it to their neighbors, their friends, and just be getting people excited about these amazing products, right? The second thing I put in there are order forms. I usually throw a couple in. Not everyone uses them, but sometimes they do. So I encourage guests, if they, or hosts, if they are telling people about Norwex and they're talking with someone who can't make it and they're really bummed because it sounds great and they want to try it out, they can take this catalog and they can show it to them. And if that person wants to get, the basic pack or a dusting mitt or whatever it is that they're really excited about, they can fill this form out, and the host can then bring this to their party and give this to me there. So they can collect outside orders with this. The next thing I put in there is this little party tips sheet. So it's something super simple that I created, and I just print these out and throw them in there. So it just says simple things like, over invite. The point of this is to give my host expectations. So maybe your host has never hosted a party like this or even been to one. When I started Norwex, and even before that, when I hosted a party with Norwex, I had never been to a direct sales party at all. So I really had no idea what it was like, what to expect, what you should do when you're having a party. And honestly, the consultant that did a party for me didn't do an awesome job hostess coaching me. She is not on our team. I don't think she does it anymore. I literally looked her up on the internet because I was so obsessed with this product. And so anyways, it's really important that you're giving your host expectations. Don't just say, great, I'll see you in 3 weeks on the 24th, You want to tell them what it's going to take for them to have a great party And you want it to feel simple. You don't want it to feel super hard and overwhelming for them, but you want to just give them expectations, because that helps, I think, to lessen just that overwhelming feeling for a host. A lot of hosts are like, oh, I don't know who I'll invite. Oh, I don't want to have all these snacks. My house has to be perfect. So this just helps ease that. Mine says things like, keep your snacks really simple. Seriously, keep it simple. You don't have to provide a fancy meal for your friends. Just make a plate of brownies and a bottle of wine, and there you go. Your friends are going to be really pleased with that. So it just says things like that. The next thing I keep in there is this little Hostess tic-tac-toe. So this just has different things where these are all things on here that are going to help them to have a really good party. So historically, if you have 13 buying guests with your party, it's going to go really well, because everybody knows, you guys, that when you have a Norwex party and people come to it and they see you do that butter demo or the chicken demo or the glow germ, they get really excited about how well these things really work. They're not magic, it's science. They actually work, and they do an amazing job, and people get excited about that. So getting people there is like the biggest factor, right, for having a great party. So this just tells different things that are going to make your party go great, and this helps them to kind of know, okay, that's what it's going to take. Let's see, do I have anything else in there? Oh, the last thing I put in there is an opportunity brochure. These are really great. They just reprinted these in January, and they do an amazing job of just kind of walking through some of the questions people generally have when they're wondering, oh, is this something I could do as a business? Could I do this? So I always throw one of these in there for my hosts. They obviously love Norwex, so this is something I want them to have handy, and maybe they'll look at it, maybe they won't. I can point it out to them, but this is something you want them to at least have in their hands. So that's what I keep in there. I usually try to explain to them what's in there and just say these are going to be some helpful tools, so make sure you look at those. A couple days later, I usually reach out to my host, and usually I do this through text, sometimes phone call if my kids are not being, if I have a quiet moment. I'll reach out to them and just say, hey, thanks so much for coming to so-and-so's party. I'm really excited about sharing this with your friends and family. And so I'm just reaching out to them just to kind of touch base, let them know, hey, I loved meeting you. I'm really excited about doing this. I can't wait. So just, again, kind of building that relationship with them and, trying to connect with them. Maybe remind them of something that you guys talked about, or just build that connection with them. So then usually about a couple weeks before the party, I create an invitation for them. I actually don't do a lot of invites through Facebook. I know most of you do. And I think, again, that's kind of a personal preference thing. I will create an event for them if they want it. I do a lot of my invites on Canva. I think it doesn't matter as long as you're providing your host with some tool to get their guests there. So I send them an email that 2 days after that lets them know, here are some things that are going to help your party to go well. Here's the date, the time, and then I let them know in that email how to invite their guests. They're going to want to text them or email them with this little invite I've made, and they're going to want to personally message each person. Don't do a group text or a mass text. Send this out to Brenda or whoever it is. Hey, Brenda. Just let her know, hey, Brenda, I am so excited about Norwex. I just discovered this. I think it's something you would really love. I'd love if you would come and learn. I think you'd love it. Just add something. It doesn't have to be long, but let them know. Add a personal message, because their guests want to know that they want them there. So coach your host and let them know, here's what your guests need from you. They need to know you care, that you actually want them there, right? And then I touch base with my host about once a week. So if, we're 4 weeks out from their party, I try to touch base, the 3 weeks before, then 2 weeks before, and just say, hey, have you been liking your products? What do you think about this? Any fun stories? And then, I'll say, hey, you have, how's the inviting going? Is it going well? Have you gotten those invites out and the personal messages? So just kind of letting them know I'm a real person, I'm on board with this, and I want to help them to help their party to go as well as it can. So that's kind of what I do. I usually touch base the day before their party and send them a little reminder graphic to send out to their hosts. And then they send those out the day before. I touch base with them the day of and let them know, hey, I'm so excited. Can't wait to come and share Norwex tonight. I plan to be there, 20 minutes ahead or 30 minutes ahead, whatever it is. I usually do 20 minutes, but I think that's kind of up to you. So that's kind of how I coach my host and the process I go through. And yeah, it's gone really great for me. There's always ways to improve it. So if you have any helpful tips or things that work for you, post those below because we can all help each other out with that. Thanks, guys.